Wouldn't it? I have got a bit of explaining to do. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of an update. As you are all pretty aware, if not, you've probably just been birthed. COVID has literally changed the world. Now, I don't want to talk too much about COVID because the news depresses the out of me, and I literally avoid it at any point I can. It has been extremely difficult for me to find motivation to do certain things. For example, sit down and talk. When you're constantly stuck in your thoughts and all you have to speak to is the same people all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, I am so grateful to have my family and to not be alone, because my God, it would have been 10 times worse. But at the same time, the time that I am alone, even if it's in my room, or even if it's sat here and we're all watching the telly but we're in silence, I overthink, and I overthink absolutely everything. I found it really hard to get the motivation to sit down and record. I found it hard to get the motivation to sit down and do my college work. Obviously, that is a priority. I found it really hard to have the motivation to do basically anything but work out. I don't really think people understand how beneficial working out has been for me this past year and a bit now. Working out has allowed me for even just 20 minutes to just take a step away from my thoughts and to focus on my breath. I honestly urge you, if you can and you're able to do some yoga, maybe take it easy, and then, do what you can, because it honestly helps your mind so much. And afterwards as well, you feel so much better physically. The reason I haven't really been on here is for that reason. I'm not a man. I can promise you that. So, with the whole shebang, COVID, I've obviously not been at work. And then I went back to work in July, and then had hardly any shifts. Obviously we went back into lockdown and everything kind of didn't shut again, but got the strict rules, and my anxiety became worse. If anything is clear to me, it's that my anxiety has not only doubled, but well beyond that. Leaving the house, even to go on a dog walk, fills me with pure dread. My anxiety has got a lot worse. And you know what? That's okay, because anxiety is something which we all have. Obviously, some people is a lot worse, and in that case, it's diagnosed. In other cases, people have anxious thoughts. With that has meant me not going on walks, because sometimes when I get too anxious, I stop going on walks. Didn't return to work when everyone else did. So after Christmas, when everyone else was returning, I didn't return until last week, simply because the thought of being behind a till or in on a food counter or drive through McDonald's honestly made me feel physically sick. And it still does. Every shift I've had, I say every shift, I've only had one since my first one back, but even my one 2 days ago, I was shitting myself to return to work, even though I'd been a week before. But I just overthink everything, and I think it's so important to know that your anxiety is there for a reason. Don't be scared of being anxious, because then you're fueling it and you're giving it that power to kind of consume you. Don't let it do that. You've just got to accept that you're anxious for a reason. That situation will be okay if you if you tell yourself to just do your best you can. Like, I know that's very cliche, oh, do your best you can, but like, as long as you do what you are capable of, there's nothing wrong with having to take a step back for a couple of minutes, or to speak to someone and say, you know what, I can't come in today, and just never be afraid to do that, because 9 times out of 10, people are a lot more understanding than what you expect them to be. Also, my like depression side of my life has, obviously it's always there, as is anxiety, and any mental illness. It's always there and it's always present, just sometimes it's more here, whereas other days, you know, it's not as top heavy, if that makes sense. My depression has also gotten worse, obviously with not seeing family, not travelling, because travelling brings me so much happiness. But the main thing was not seeing family. Like, that is a big thing for me. Like, family are everything. So with my anxiety and depression side of things getting like worse, and some other issues that have been with me for years, I've just been very afraid to speak about them. I spoke to my mum about them, that I had these issues which were kind of weighing us down, and to the point where I found it really hard to accept myself and to move on from that. I have now got a counsellor. There is absolutely nothing wrong at all with asking for help, whether it's to a family member or to a friend or to a counsellor. No matter what way you do it, who you go through, that doesn't matter. If you do it, you are strong. Now, even if you doubt that you are, you are. The hardest part about speaking up is the first step of actually saying it to that first person, to that first kind of checkpoint in the cycle, if that's what you want to call it. The hardest part for me was telling my mum that I needed that help. And when I say it was hard, I mean, like, I have needed this thing to be compressed. Obviously not to disappear, because it never will, and I believe that it literally never will. But I needed to find ways to compress it and to cope with it and to move on from it and allow myself to forgive what had happened. It took me like 5 years. 5 years to openly admit that I was struggling. But once I'd done it, I have never felt relief like it. Like, you don't have to be at an extremely low point to ask for help. To speak up takes an insane amount of strength. But once a week. At first, the sessions were brief, so I wouldn't really go in depth, but that was because of me. That was because I was holding back. It takes a lot for me to trust someone, and that is why I think I struggled so much telling anyone, and to openly come out and say that it was an issue for me. I didn't want to show that trust was not there with those people, the people I'm close to. What I've learned the most, like, if you don't trust someone, or if you don't trust people, like in my case, if you don't trust anyone because of what's happened in the past, you have to make sure that those people around you know it's not a personal kind of attack on them. It's from past experience. But you've also got to remember to not tar everyone with the same brush, because just because that person in your past has broken your trust doesn't mean that everyone else is not trustworthy, because 9 times out of 10, they will be. That's the biggest thing that I've learned from going to counselling. I'm still going to counselling now. I have been getting more in depth with the chats I've been having. I am so grateful to have my mum, who's also a counsellor. Obviously my mum can't counsel me because that's just not allowed. I'm very lucky to have my mum, who massively understands mental illnesses and mental health, literally by my side through everything. She's the best. Love her. I know this was quite a quick chat. I say quite quick chat. I did ramble on about some things, but it was quite brief and straight to the point when it comes to the main topic of the video. If you do have any questions, you can either leave them in the comment section on this video. If you don't want to ask them on this video and you don't want people to see, that is absolutely fine. But just remember, there's no shame in asking for help. It shows great strength rather than weakness, trust me. You can message me on Instagram at either of these two. I'll put them up here. You can either message me on one of them and I will get back to you ASAP. Just know you can do anything if you put your mind to it. You're so loved. Never, ever, ever doubt yourself and the strength you have, because you have got through 100% of your worst days. You're still here, you're fighting, you're incredible. And once you believe that, I'm very much still on that road myself, to accept myself, and I believe that road, I can't exactly say the end yet. I'm going to be honest, I can't see the end yet, but I'm on that road. Once you have accepted yourself and you allow yourself to be exactly who you are, that is when the real and full enjoyment of life is released to you. Lots of love to everyone. I'm also going to link like yoga and workouts I do in the description. So if you do want to take my advice, you know, because I'm such an influencer, not, and maybe just take a minute, 20 minutes out of your day to just focus on your breath rather than what's going on in here. Have an amazing day. Keep on being you and never, ever, 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 ever doubt yourself. Toodaloo.